Hey everybody, welcome to another Screwy Tuesday. This is a little start off, little discussion first. Let's talk about seagulling real quick. I think I think you'll enjoy it, and that's pretty much what this video tonight's about. So we're going to run through some quick things, and then we'll get on to the actual restart of the program or show tonight. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Always appreciate your time. So here I'm over at the Monarch, and I'm going to reposition the camera and show you what came of a first Seagull run. So Friday, my good friend Flea Market Dave and I went on a Seagull run up to one of the honey holes. He was picking up some cast iron bases for grinders, and I went along for the ride, and I found this guy there, this dead center, and I was hoping that it would fit actually in the head here of my Monarch. It takes a number 12 Jarno, and actually the back half of this does fit in the spindle hole, but this is too large, and I haven't actually even checked the what the taper is here, but my plan is to cut it to a Jarno taper. So I was just fooling around here, just making some cuts just to see how hard it is. I know it's about 50 plus Rockwells with the file test, but I thought this might be interesting, and I'll video this when I actually do the work on it. I have a live center here that has adjustable, or not adjustable, but replaceable tips. And I kept thinking to myself, how am I going to hold this in the lathe? And then I actually have a couple of these different types. And I remembered this one had various tips, and sure enough, it has a removable tip that'll hold a 60-degree center. So I chucked the guy up in here and was playing with it. And my plans is to cut the Jarno on here so that I can use it with a dog plate. So right now it's doing well. There's the old subscribe you guys, and you can see it's running fine right there where I made the cut. It's only, I think it was out 2 thou down here and 3 up here without even touching the thing. So let's move on to the next part of the Seagull story. Well, while we're here, real quick. So Dave and I are in the truck riding up to the honey hole, and I look at an email from another friend here, local, that I met through YouTube, Dean the Coyote Crawford. And so I'm mentioning, hey, Dean sent me something here. It was about a shop for sale, and Dave's going, who's Dean? And I go, hey, buddy, I got a lot of girlfriends. You're not my only girlfriend. So I got on the phone with Dean, and we'll move on, and we'll talk about what the Coyote left for me. Well, actually, back here talking about Dean the Coyote Crawford. So Saturday morning, Dean said he was going to go to the tool garage sale, and so I called him about 8:30. I think it started at 7:30, and I caught him just on the way home from his purchases. And here's a link to his channel. You can see what he purchased. He made some really good buys. And as we were talking, he said, yeah, he goes, I left one thing there I wish I would have bought. And he said one of these split apart vices that you can mount to the mill table. And he was talking about how filthy everything was. This stuff, it probably almost had an 1/8 inch of dirt on it. And what they had done is just brought stuff out that had been sitting on carts forever. So anyway, I brought it home. I paid $40 for this. Brought it home, cleaned it up, and painted it, and it'll be here ready for me to use someday. It works real well. The thing, I mean, there was barely any marks that had ever even been used much, and the jaws are perfect. The nice thing about this is it's, let me pick it up if I can. Both units are keyed, so that you can just set it right down on the mill table, and they're aligned, which is really nice. But interesting enough is my welding table is drilled and tapped for 1/2 inch 13, So actually, if I pulled the keys off, I can actually use this on my welding table for fixturing over there also. So that was my purchase, and I couldn't stop. And let me move the camera a little bit here. So the other couple of things that I bought, did I need them? No, but one was I couldn't find the brother to this guy. It's basically a step block. I don't know if the slots in here for round were milled in by somebody. It looks, no, they're casted. The casting marks are still there. It's got it looks like it says CAD on this side and 6SB. It's fairly square. You can see it's pretty rough here on the casting, so it's going to be a cleanup project. It'll be a fun one, and put it into use here in the shop. The second thing I purchased, basically bought it for a little more than cost of scrap, is this large parallel. Weighs 46 pounds. Yeah, it's about 9 inches by, call it 12 by 2.5, 3 inches. It's not perfect. I don't know. I just couldn't put it down once I picked it up. I think I paid $30 for it. And again, it'll be a nice cleanup project. Get it so it's a lot more in a square situation for use. And I've got a good deadman here in the shop. So anyway, thank you, Dean. And funny, Dean had sent me the info, and then later that morning, another good friend of mine, Dave Strong, sent me the same ad, wondering if I was going to go. So here we are with a little bit of seagull discussion, and we're going to move on and talk about my new purchases. Hello, everybody. Thanks for stopping by the shop for another Screwy Tuesday. My name's Chuck, and got to show you a little toolbox change in this video. So in the background here, you can see I've got a Craftsman top, snap-on bottom, and then there's a snap-on side cabinet here. A little history. I had a smaller, I still have it, a smaller Craftsman top that was my first box back in the early 70s. Still have it. Plan on giving it to my grandson. I bought this deeper box because I was running out of storage space, which I'll show you. And the bottom snap-on bottom chest here, I bought this in the mid-70s. Back then, I think it was $400, which was a big expense. $460, I think, is what it reminds me. Me and my buddy each bought one from the Snap-on tool dealer. Back then, of course, there's no roller guides. It's been a good box. Done a lot of work my earlier days for side work as a mechanic, and then we had boats, and we're into drag racing, so a lot of wrench turning in my days. Quit college and actually wanted to be a mechanic. Started there. Always had a love for tools, which I think everybody understands with all the dang tools I buy all the time. So I'm basically at capacity in the toolbox here. And I'll show you. Here's a wrench drawer, and if I will go to pull a wrench out, I get a couple of wrenches with it. And it's really been frustrating me. As you can see there, it's hitting because it's so tight in there. Well, I've been really thinking about buying a snap-on tool chest, one of the KRL setups. Those you can find them used on Craigslist for $2,400 for the shorter version, $3,500 for the taller version, and dependent upon whether it has a stainless steel top, all the different features. I was really chasing a 6-footer for a while, and opted not to. The guy never called me back. I was too cheap, probably. Then I kept saying, well, really spend that much money, you're gonna be into it. Go on, Howie, go. You're gonna be into a tool chest for a couple $1,000, $3,000. Do I really need to have it say Snap on the side of it? So I know some guys have gotten the cabinets from U.S. General Cabinets from Harbor Freight, and there's a lot of good responses on those. And so I was really seriously thinking about getting a large bottom chest. What I wanted to do was get all my sockets into a drawer so they're easily seen. My whole socket setup here was, again, packed. So hemmed and hawed. And what do I want to do? And, I just want to buy something that I was happy with in the long run. It doesn't have to say Snap-on in it. So let me turn the camera here for a second. Well, actually stop the cabinet. I'm going to move it over, okay? And we'll see what I purchased. Well, you can see the new cabinet I purchased. We went on a Seagull Run, myself and Flea Market Dave. I didn't buy this one ultra cheap. I'll tell you, I paid $850 for it. It's a fair price. The cabinet is just spanking clean. Came out of a guy's garage, and he got it from his work. He worked for Apple. I don't know if he got it from Apple, but really good shape. So it's a Stanley Vidmar, and it's 30 inches wide and 50 or 60 inches tall. And so my goal is to move everything from these cabinets into this guy. Now, it's stationary, but it's right here at the front of my shop at the head of where my car would be parked in a rack if I was using it as a mechanic. I may change it where I can pick it up with my pallet jack. I don't think I'll put casters underneath it, but really looking forward to moving everything across. I started fooling around with it. I did, I don't know if that's going to come in there, but I did start moving the sockets just for, I'm going to move you up there, just to show you those right there were back up in there, and you can see the congestion in the box there. So what if I end up with more space? I'm going to buy more tools. But anyway, looking forward to moving things over. So what I thought, just for the fun of it, I'm going to run you through the drawers on this toolbox real quick. I know people always like looking in people's toolboxes, and then we'll go on from there. Now, I may be doing this a little ass backwards, but I'm actually going to move everything. I want to put liners in the bottom of these drawers, but I really don't have the setup and dividers how I want it, so I don't want to go ahead and start trying to put liners in. I could just put liners across the whole drawers, but I never wait for anything. So I'm going to actually just start moving things over and try to reshuffle. The other thing I'd like to do is somehow keep the same stacked semblance of my old toolboxes where everything was and where the tools are. So when I open up, drawer, there was my screwdrivers. They were basically near the top. So I'm going to work on that. Well, I forgot to turn the microphone on when I recorded this video, so I'm going to do a voiceover. If you'll notice that the drawer layout is a little different than what you've seen previous in the video. These cabinets, you can rearrange the drawers. So I moved two of the wider drawers down. And you'll notice the blue tags. I haven't yet labeled the various drawers, but I did keep the drawers in a sequence that was very similar to my original toolbox. There you can see I'm talking about where I'm putting dividers in and trying to get things worked out. That whole back of that pliers drawer needs to be cleaned up. There's the sockets. Again, that whole drawer still needs to be cleaned up, but I did manage to move everything over into it. I did get all my tools to fit into the toolbox, and with further rearranging, I could probably free up a drawer. The one issue is my hammers. I don't know what I'm going to do with the hammers. I did have a hammer rack in the past, and I like the hammers accessible, and so I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. And then I still need to finish up labels, and that'll make the box really, really useful. Thanks for taking a look at my new toolbox setup in the shop here. Okay, you can see the top trays filled with sockets, air guns and things hanging on the side here. And the top drawer here is basically filled with diagnostic stuff, starter, remote starter button, some air stuff, nut drivers, a Blue Point digital gauge, and just miscellaneous stuff. All the different, even though these are China, little plastic guys for taking door panels off. Very, very helpful. Next drawer was screwdrivers. You can see that I put in dividers in here. So I've actually moved some of the screwdrivers over just to play around. But again, you can see basically how packed everything is in here, magnets and stuff. So this is, again, I put dividers in the drawer here. So I had 1/2 inch drive in the back, 3/8 drive in the middle, 1/4 inch drive in the front. Secondary dividers that had universal joints and adapters and things. It's worked out well. Again, it's been pretty well packed. Looking for more space. This drawer here, you can see that it's quite full. I ended up with wrenches that I just have to stack off to the side. It's a nice collection of Snap-on, and I love them. So looking forward to making more space for them. The reason you see the yellow on this drawer, that was for me. Seems like no matter how often I go to this, I always grab the wrong drawer anyway. I was trying to signify which drawer was which, so it would be simpler for me to find things. But just rearranging the camera here for a second. So again, these are all metric end wrenches and some Craftsman larger wrenches here. These are all Snap-ons. I bought these gear wrenches with the flex heads. Saw them on Blue Hand's video, Mike, and I had to go get some, and I love them. Continuing on, you can see pliers. Again, I put dividers in here out of just aluminum angle, and separated off, needle nose, dikes, pliers, all the wire accessories. These are all snap ring. So it's worked out well, and looking forward to doing it again in the next box. And again, having more space. All right, bottom box, top drawer. These drifts and punches, chisels, center punches, Allen keys, more Allen keys, all Allen keys in the back. Again, it's packed, and when I got to dig for something, I have to dig quite a bit. Seeing this reminds me, I did a job years ago, put a lift kit in a guy's four-wheel drive truck back in my house garage before I ever had my shop. And when I got done, I said to myself, what tools would have made this easier? And so I went out and actually, seeing this, I bought these large punches, which they're snap-ons, which would have been very helpful. And in the past, when I've done jobs and I've got them done, if there's a tool that would have made it easier, I typically go out and buy them. Okay, let's keep going. Miscellaneous drawer, distributor wrenches, scrapers, and files. Another miscellaneous drawer, hacksaw, punches, pop rivets. So this drawer here is a combination of got to have your snap-on boxes, but let's see. We got a clutch alignment tool. We got vacuum. We got flywheel set. Various bushing tools are in here. It's all packed in there, and oil filter wrenches. Got basically everything to do anything in here. And you can see how hard these drawers are to move. Looking down a little further, this is full of snips, tin snips, aviation snips, and then torque wrenches are in the back there. Got a snap-on click type torque wrench, and then there's a proto in there also. Down below here is a steering wheel puller, and all the rest of the tooling in there is for brakes, doing jobs on brakes. And there at the bottom has become a collect-all. There's all sorts of various tools in there. The pullers, some of the stuff I don't use, some of the stuff I've collected. There's the Whitney little hand punch. So it's just a collect-all of things in there. So we'll move over. Let me stop for a second. So the side box hanging here, of course, always covered full of garbage and crap. But the side box, basically, it's all 16th wrenches, some Chinese pipe wrenches, more pipe wrenches. These are all aluminum rigids. And then down below here, let's see if I can lower you down. I'm not going to pull everything out right now, but tack dwell meter, timing light, compression, snap-on compression tester. What else is in here? And there's an electrical tester, radiator tester. There's a cylinder leak down tester. Quite a bit of stuff that I've collected over the years. So, and then the last thing, I'm going to move you again. On the side of the box here, I have my hammer rack, and then there on the, you probably can see it down in there, but on the lower chest, there's another hammer rack that's on the side of it. I used to keep hammers in the very bottom drawer, and you just beat the hell out of everything, throwing them in and out, so I opted not to do that anymore. So anywho, I'm going to start moving these items over into the Lista, or the Stanley Vidmar. It's not a Lista. And see how much more space that I managed to get.